What's up, everybody? It's K4K Crypto here. It's me and Crypto Stylist. She has amazing stuff to talk about today. We're gonna have a little back and forth. She's gonna ask me some questions, and we're gonna have an awesome dialogue about Pulse Chain, and that's Pulse Chain and Pulsex and Hex. So I'll let you rip there, Crypto Stylist.
Okay, hi, Korypto Stylist here. K4K, thanks so much for having me on. Most of you probably don't know this, but we speak not often, but we've had some really long, deep conversations about crypto and about the whole Pulse versus Pulsex and this whole Richard Hart ecosystem. So I thought it would be interesting for us to kind of take it public and have some of this
Yeah, true.
discussion and people can see what we talk about, And so I think it's really interesting. So I guess we're going to do a little bit of a role reversal. Originally, I was going to host this on my channel, but we just ended up migrating here. And so I'm going to ask you some questions. So I think it would just be really interesting to know, how did you get into crypto? Just like super, and you've probably talked about this on this channel, but I just like
Yeah,
super top line,
sure.
like for people who don't know you.
Yeah, 2017. Saw the Bitcoin price, saw it jump drastically, and I thought drastic was 3K to 5K, and I was like, whoa. It went back down to 3K, and I was like, okay, this stuff is pretty cool. That's when you get really into researching it. Got into crypto, rode it to the top, listened to Richard early on in like 2017 when he called the 20K Christmas. I was watching all his stuff since then, and he just turned out to be right. Because when you first get into this stuff, you have all these different influencers trying to influence you and tell you what's going to do well, and you don't know anything as a newbie. And so it's hard to differentiate between, is this guy just like the rest? Oh wait, this guy actually gets the stuff right. Even if he says something you don't want to hear, you're like, later down the road, you're like, wait, this guy was right. Oh my gosh. And all these other people, they said stuff I wanted to hear. So I was like, oh, I think I like these people more. And it turns out they just say whatever that sounds good because they know that gets people to like their videos. So I try to be as like truthful and stuff with my videos as I possibly can, following in kind of what Richard does, even if it's not what you want to hear. It's just like I'm just pointing out stuff I'm seeing truthfully. So that's what I do in my videos. But yeah, I've been in since 2017, and I made some videos in 2019 for Hex. They're unlisted right now because I somewhat semi-doxed myself in them, so I had to hide them. But those were for the early days of Hex. I was telling people, what are the best 3 parts about Hex? Should you get it? Question mark. And I think YouTube like shadow banned me back then. Because like my first video got 200 views, and for first video, that's not terrible ever. And then you get 7 views on the next 3, and I was like, okay, something's weird. And I was like, never mind. I'm just gonna hold my Hex and do stuff later, I guess.
But
And then
I
2
mean,
years, what's up?
no, go ahead. It was just such a different time too. There weren't nearly as many people in crypto. You were really early, so I'm sure the audience was just so much smaller than what it is now in terms
True.
of like the interest and the number of people who are interested and even know about crypto or participating in this whole system. So, I mean, that probably has something to do with it as well,
Oh yeah. The DeFi grew so fast over that 2020 summer when Uniswap started becoming popular. Like in the early days, we did make Uniswap popular. We were using Uniswap. We realized the power of it and the benefit, like
Mm.
the benefit of using a decentralized exchange that wasn't complete garbage, like IDEX and Ether. What was the Ether? There was E something. Man, what was it called? There was this other one where it was the old limit order style where you could, in a decentralized way, put orders up. But like if you, it was such a bad user experience. People were accidentally selling thousands of ETH in a sell because they missed a zero
Yeah.
and stuff, and it was zero liquidity. Uniswap changed all that, and so it started becoming used more and more and more. And now we're like, wow, we don't even want to use centralized exchange, guys. This is just so
Mm.
much better. There's no
Mm.
gatekeeping with like these decentralized exchanges. There's no insider deals of, hey, pay us and we'll let you put your coin on here and also give us some of the coins. That's like what Binance's business model was in 2017. It was like, oh, you want a list? That's going to be $1 million minimum and give us half the coins or something. It's like, dude, that's so insider trading, terrible. Like it's so bad. Decentralized exchange is the way to go.
I
Yeah.
agree.
So like that's kind of how I got into crypto, is in a short, very short story, is I really liked the power it gave to people over their own money. And I was like, dang, even though I don't have that much at the time, I was like, I want to control my own money, and I started learning more
Yeah.
about the financial system and how, whoa, wait a minute, it can be better. I didn't know it could
Mm,
be another way. Wow.
mm.
Oh, this is amazing. And so I wanted, and I was just like, this is what I want to do with my life. Something involving this stuff. You can get really rich with it, and you can actually change people's lives with it. So,
That's, I mean, you got in so young. So I guess, I mean, that's really
always
good for
been
you,
into
you know?
computers, so it
Yeah, you
was
can really achieve.
lucky.
Yeah, you have a background, right? You have a background a lot with computers, so it wasn't really, and also with gaming. You were really into
Oh, yeah.
gaming, almost to the point where you had to kind of like
I
take a
wanted to
little
be
bit
a
of a
video game
student on it.
developer when I was growing up. I was like,
Yeah.
I, and then I realized, wait, I don't actually like doing the coding of gaming. I like experience in games so much, and I'm not very artistic. If you saw my last thumbnail, that my first thumbnail for my last video about the double burn, there's going to be a
Yeah.
double burn with Pulse Chain, so we might talk
Yeah,
about that
I
in this
saw that.
video. But I made like a fun one because it was based off of Mario Kart Double Dash. So
Mhm.
it's Pulse Chain Double Burn. So I just thought that was
So
funny.
funny.
Even though I had a half baked attempt at it, it was just fun doing that. Even though not very artistic, I don't think so.
It was cute. I thought it was
Yeah,
cute.
it was fun.
So, it's so interesting because I watched your videos pretty much from the beginning. I don't know when I first entered into the system, which was probably starting in August. I think were you doing making content then?
August. Was it
August,
August? I don't know.
September.
I've only been doing this like maybe 4.5 months,
Okay, so
maybe 5 months.
maybe it was
Maybe
sometime last
September,
year that I
like
started,
mid.
probably in the later part of last year that I started watching your content. And then all of a sudden, I watched a video and I'm like, this guy has 47,000 views, like 40,000
Yeah, that
views.
that video
And it
did
was from
pretty
the
good.
Pulsex. And I feel like you kind of found you had this big tipping point in your career as an influencer and also just as having a voice in the community when you effectively discovered and really kind of shed light on the whole buy and burn on Pulsex and how much
Yeah.
value that really added. And really, because I think that a lot of members of the community really felt that they weren't as excited about Pulsex until there was
Nobody
this big
was.
discovery, which is really unveiled
Nobody
by you.
cared about Pulsex. They all said
Yeah.
it's third tier Richard Hart coin. It's gonna be garbage. It's just it's just gonna be extra, and Pulse Chain's the big one. And I'm like, I don't know, guys.
But
I
I
don't
feel like you
know.
had a really big hand at like changing people's mind and really turning the light on about Pulsex. And I think that's really brilliant. I mean, you can take a lot of credit for that. I learned it from you. And
Mm.
looking at how many people watched your video, you probably turned on a lot of people to that, and
Yeah,
then a
to
lot of
my own detriment
content
because I bet
generated
less
from
people
your
would.
content,
Yeah,
you know?
and it's like I'm sharing this information at my own cost because it doesn't benefit me if more people hold it.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I got 50% more people to sacrifice, not saying I did, but like even
Mm.
5%, well, that just hurts my own bag, doesn't it? But I want everyone to do better because I think this stuff is going to do insanely well. Anyone who's in this Genesis address list, like, you're going to crush it. Not financial advice on this channel ever, but by the way, but like getting in early on these projects, you can't do better than before it launched, right? You can't. Especially when everyone's getting in at these similar rates, no one is making money selling at, like, no one's going to sell day one at lower than they paid for it and lock in a loss at the start. No one did that for the ETH ICO.
Yeah.
Nobody did that. It
Yeah.
never went below the ICO price, except for a wick on Kraken for like a second, which someone accidentally market sold more than there was available. But it started at 10x the price that people paid, and then it went down 86%, which sounds scary, but it never went below what people paid in the ICO. So it was still like 35% above that at the lowest dip after the 10x start. So that's how I think Pulse Chain is going to go. Same with
Okay.
Pulsex. I don't see why it would dip below. So,
And what are your thoughts on the sacrifice now that we're at
oh
this
yeah,
point?
true. Oh, you mean like the big numbers coming in lately? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Were you surprised or did you predict it?
I mean, I did tweet about it over a month ago or so, but then I deleted it because it's not really smart to draw too much attention to that stuff. I don't think it's the majority of people. Like, does your grandma who's going to get into this need to know what the OA might do and stuff like that? It's just I don't think it's overall healthy for the masses to know that stuff. It doesn't
Hmm.
really
Hmm.
encourage them to buy because they don't understand, first of all, the benefit of it. So it's
Hmm.
like it is a good thing overall, but to have to explain that now to everybody is just like a nightmare. It's almost just better if
Yeah.
they don't realize it. They don't realize what's helping them in the back. Like you don't need to know how your car works to be impressed by the performance of it. So it's it's more like that. So it's I like to talk more about I do like to talk about all the mechanics of the stuff. So I
Hmm.
did tweet about it yesterday and I was like, yo, this is how you can calculate exactly what the supply is going to be. And I was just sharing that Pulsex actually might actually have less total supply than Pulse Chain. And a lot of people didn't like that. They're like, hey, stop talking about Pulsex being better than Pulse. I'm just like, guys, I'm just sharing. These are just facts. Stop. You can interpret it how you want. This is
But
the math.
okay, let me ask you this. So I watched your video on the Pulse double burn, right? The double
Oh yeah,
burn
yeah,
because of the 1559, and we can
yeah.
talk about that. I mean, you've already talked about it on your channel, but I think it would be
Mhm.
good to kind of re-summarize it. But did that change your view at all of the Pulse versus Pulse X dialogue?
I do get that question because people are like, "Oh man, which one do you like more now, K4K? Is it Pulse
Exactly.
Chain
So
or
make the
Pulse X? You
summary.
get stop going back and forth on us." And I'm like,
That is a
I,
high
I,
burn rate. That is a
"The
high
high."
burn rate. I mean, that's
But
really going to be very deflationary.
here's the thing though. I've always said that I even had a Twitter poll a while back that was, "What's better, a 20% burn or a 10% buy and burn?"
Yep.
It's buy and burn all the way. I mean, unless it's some crazy ratio, and yeah, there's like you can go to the edge cases of one that might be better, like a 100% burn and 0.001% buy and burn. Okay, maybe 100% burns better. But the thing is, even if Pulse Chain is 100% burning of transaction fees, like just burns them all, it's not affecting the price directly like a buy and burn does. A buy and burn actually moves the market price up on these automated market makers. It pushes it up
Mhm.
and then removes supply. It's like, okay, a big
Mhm.
buyer comes in and then you never see those coins again. Like they will never become sell pressure. What? If you just have a guy who holds a bunch of coins already and the coins are just removed from supply, they never hit the
Mhm.
market anyway. So it doesn't actually matter like burning a tons and tons and tons of coins because like BNB does this since they have like a centralized person or whatever who I don't know who owns it, all the I guess
It's
it's
basic,
CZ.
yeah. Somebody wakes up every morning and decides that they're going to burn them.
Yeah, they
It's
go
so
yeah,
random. I mean, it's so. I'm not random, but it's a little bit.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
They do now ever since EI well, we're kind of going a different tangent, but
Mm.
they don't have inflation. They actually
Mm.
BNB doesn't have inflation. So maybe some people don't know that, but they they have only ever had like a max supply of 200 million and now they're like
Mhm.
165 million, but it's only going down. They don't there's no new ones being created. Um, the people who are validators get like block rewards from the transaction fees.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of like how Pulse Chain will be. But they also have whoever owns a bunch of those coins, they sometimes just do burn like 10 million coins or something. They'll burn 10 million. And then they're like, whoa, look at all this a dollar amount that we got rid of. And it's like, you guys weren't going to sell them anyway. It doesn't, I mean, it
Mm.
technically makes it more rare, but what would really change the price is if they're talking about this big dollar amount they got rid of. If that dollar amount bought it and burned it, that would do huge for the price because it's hundreds of millions of dollars that they're saying is removed, but imagine if hundred millions of dollars bought it and then removed it. That's the actual affecting the price. So buy and burn just beats burn overall. So Pulsex, I still think is better in that regard to Pulse Chain.
Okay. Okay.
So I would say that. What was the other thing we brought up? There was something else that double burn. Yeah, oh yeah, EIP 1559. If people didn't watch that other video I have, you you have this base amount of 25% burn in Pulse Chain.
Mhm.
That was like Richard's idea. He came up with that. And then on top of that, we have EIP 1559 that comes through, which is from like Ethereum. That was their plan. They implemented it. And so we're going to have it because we're a fork of Ethereum, right? and that has been shown to burn anywhere from 25 to 75% of every transaction fee. Like the miner
Mm-hmm.
only gets this little tip part, and so that's on
Mm-hmm.
top of the 25%. So I did all the calculations for, okay, what are the rates if we do 25 to 75% plus our
Right.
25% removed? And it
Mm-hmm.
was like 43% to 81.25% of every transaction is burned on it on Pulse chain. That's gonna be crazy. So that is a lot of deflation. And we'll never have any inflation with Pulse chain or
I
Pulsex for that
know.
matter. So it's huge. People don't, even if it's a small amount of deflation, like say we only go down like 0.01% a year. Guess what? Ethereum is still inflationary. They're talking about lowering their inflation. They're not even deflationary yet. So we will start off that way. And
But didn't
they're
you do
hoping
a
to get more war
calculation?
going. What's up?
Didn't you do a calculation of the dollar value of what you think is going to be taken out of supply on a daily basis?
I did do
Or am I
calculations
dreaming?
on some numbers, but I don't
Uh-huh.
want to show them yet. I don't think
Okay. Okay.
it's not
Okay. Fair
complete.
enough. Fair enough.
It's one of those things where I'm
Okay.
still working through what, like, I don't want to just release it before it's ready, because I do have some numbers that they would be like, whoa, this guy is crazy, because it is like a lot of percent um annually, current calculations, but I don't want to say them yet. So, but yeah,
Okay.
we can talk about, let's see. Oh yeah, well, Binance Smart Chain, they have BEP 95, and so they copied EIP 1559 because they
Yep.
were created before that came out, so they didn't just have it
Mhm.
in like we will, and so they had to make their own proposal, and they only burned 10%. So
Right.
they don't even have a double burn. They just only have
I
10%,
know.
and
They
it's less
only
than
have
our
10%.
basic percent. So get wrecked.
But this is my challenge to you because I was studying before this stream. I was really looking at
Oh, we
BNB
should thank.
versus.
Wait. Oh, sorry.
Can you hear
We
me?
should thank Funding Jim. He donated
I know. Yeah. Thanks,
99.99.
Funding Jim.
Dude,
Thank
thank you,
you. That
Funding
was really
Jim.
nice.
I hear you in the spaces. You always have amazing insights into helping people with their strategies. I heard some guy in the space today. I think it was today, and he really has a mind for. He just wants to help people. He's like, I feel bad accepting any money for anything I do,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people have that mentality in the Hex community. They're like, I just want to help. Um, they feel bad accepting any money for their services, even though they're putting in time and effort. So it's almost like, do you? I think he had some really good advice for those people that, if you're not making a profit, you're going to be having to sell your crypto down to maintain your livelihood. Like, you surviving in this world is overhead. If you're making no money on helping people, you still have overhead, even if it's just you. So you have to, there's ways to make profit and be helpful to people like around the world. So I think it's good to encourage people that to be more business minded and not
Yeah.
think of it as a bad thing. You're helping people, and they like, it's a two-way transaction. You're getting, each person's getting what they want and what they need.
Well,
So
I think what sets you apart, one, you're providing a service for the community because you really, I mean, I've talked to you, you're like, okay, I've been thinking about this idea for 3 weeks while I was on my vacation and this, I want to stream about it, but I'm just not perfect yet. And I'm really thinking about it. And I'm like, geez, gosh, you put so much into each stream. So you're really putting your brain, and you're a pretty smart guy. And you're thinking, okay, how can I shed light on things and help people understand things better and take the analysis further and really understand what's going to happen and what the whole game theory is, right? You're really trying to crack that. So that's the service, one. And then two, a lot of influencers in this space, and not in our community, but in our space, in the crypto space, are just shilling projects
yeah,
that they don't even say believe in. You know what I
right.
mean? And that's so unethical. And
Ye-
we're just promoting our system, and no one's paying us to do it, nor should they, because we're just trying to spread the word and get more people to onboard more people and to really talk about. The more people talk about it, then we can really, I guess, on the road to mass adoption. That's what our end goal is, right? So we all like create this content, we talk about it, and we also really believe in this product because we want people to gain financial freedom and to really understand the devastating effects of inflation. So I go on this tirade because you are providing a service and that has value and there's exchange for that. And I think it's good that people donate and that you should not feel bad about it.
mhm.
That's what I'm saying
Yeah. I mean, because we want people who are onboarding more people to be sustainable in that and not become destitute through helping others. It's like if only we could all just do everything for free for each other, the world would be a great place. It's like that. It just doesn't work like that. You have to align incentives, and I don't know. Like I totally understand and like I guess not sympathize, empathize with those people who make businesses out of, they make an instruction course on how to get into this stuff, how to understand hex and all that. That's an amazing service. It's not like they're charging $500 a course. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure they're very, very reasonable courses that it like people don't pay for information, they pay for organization. So whenever you put all the good infos in front of them in an easy digestible way, then they're like, okay, that's worth paying for. Because obviously you can do all the research and figure it all out yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it might take you 5 months. Maybe you need to get in 7 days, and then you don't miss out on a whole bull run. So
Hmm.
those are powerful services people can set up, and it helps people on board. Yeah, so I'm glad that we have those services. We should probably have more of them in the X community. I only know like maybe one. I haven't even checked it out. I don't know if it's even any good, but I know some people do have those things set up, and I know tons of other influencers in other parts of crypto have courses and stuff. But I don't even know what they probably tell you to do. They probably try and teach you trading and stuff. It's probably terrible, as
Yeah.
opposed to just guys, set up this stuff, hold it. This is new money. It will accrue value most likely. Just hold it. But nobody nobody gets excited about that. But they do want to learn how to get in and how to be secure. So that's probably valuable to learn. Maybe someone could be cash positive selling something like that and onboarding people by helping them in the best way possible. So
Yeah. No, I
for
agree.
sure.
I agree.
I love your
Um,
background, by the way. That looks,
oh, thank you. It's
is that a real
new.
background? It looks so
It's real.
like, is that real? Is
It's
that all real
real.
stuff? You can touch that floofy plant in the back? It looks awesome.
There you go. See, it's moose.
Oh, that's awesome. It looks
It's
so,
real.
that's so much cooler than my
It's
background.
a
Oh
fake
my.
plant, though. I can't have
Oh, it's
plants
fake?
outside. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What
I
about the cat?
have
The
a black
cactus
thumb.
isn't real?
Yeah, I kill everything, so it's not good. Um,
Okay.
except
I
my
mean,
dog.
I would love to
Here, she's
talk
still
some
alive.
about your awesome video that you put out
Um,
about, do you want to share
about
some of that, or
branding.
yeah, or your future ideas if you wanted to reveal some of that now, or
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like, as we're all trying to get the word out there about Hex, and I'm just trying to think of different ways, like looking at, it's a brand. And the first conversation I ever had with Richard Hart, it was, as I said to him, I said, Hex is a brand. It's really brilliant. I love the logo. I love,
Mhm.
what he's done. I love how he holds himself out in the public in a lot of ways, and I feel that, he's associated himself with like super luxury. He's very aspirational.
Moon
And
boots.
we talked about in depth about that, and he did everything. He's a business background, so he did everything with the intention of um, creating a brand, right? So if that's the case, and then we have this brand is associated with this great product, right? Its whole ecosystem. So how do we get the word out there? And so one of the things I thought about was, okay, can we collaborate with other brands that have a big following, so that then we can be exposed to a whole different cross section and a whole different audience that who don't or haven't heard about Hex. At least they will have heard about it. So maybe they won't in that moment go on the site and buy it right away, but
Yeah.
at least people have heard about it and you get the word out there. So I think that it's and just looking at how other brands have done it successfully is just to get the thought process going in the right direction. So that's
Yeah.
kind of because that's my background. I'm in fashion and I look at brands
Everyone
and which
should
ones have
go and
done it, which
watch
ones have done it
Crypto
successfully.
Stylist's video. It's on Discourse Syndicate. She talks about how Supreme and other streetwear brands basically rode the coattails through clever deals, business partnerships. They came up the ranks by teaming up behind the scenes kind of with these other groups, and being like one of the cool parts that you drew a parallel to was basically it doesn't matter what the actual supply is. If it's what's available is what
Mm-hmm.
determines the price. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you make a new clothing brand and there's 40 available, boom, all sold out.
Yeah.
How are you going to get one? guess you're buying higher, right? Like you got to buy it from someone higher. And so they use very similar tactics in the fashion world, which I didn't realize is super cutthroat. It's like crazy out there. Crypto Stylist is in the trenches over there. Um, she's, she's got a really good video on that, and I think she's right about. I don't know. So you think Hex is like a fashion brand on its own potentially?
Why not? I
Well,
mean,
I'm just.
why
I don't. I'm not
wouldn't
saying it's not possible. I want
it's a
your
great
specialty.
logo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
you just had to figure out the story. Every great brand has a great story. And then if you want to go into clothing, how would you tell that story in clothing? If you want to go into food, how would you tell that story via food? It's got to stick to the whole kind of basic DNA of what Hex is about. And if then
Mm,
it reflects that, then it rings true with people, and then it becomes emotional. Buying clothing especially is an emotional purchase. There's nothing practical. Who needs more clothes? Nobody really. So it's
ooh,
completely
true.
emotional. It makes you feel good.
Right.
So I
Awesome.
think that that's kind of the whole thing around it. But
Hex
it's
makes me feel good.
interesting. Yeah, I mean. So wait, what are your favorite brands? What are your favorite brands?
Brands I wear. I can't even say. You'll just laugh me out of this
No,
whole
I
call.
won't laugh. I won't laugh. Do you like Under Armour? That's one of my favorite
I
brands.
mean, I
Nike?
don't. I couldn't even name you a brand that I cared about.
Do you
I
like
don't care
Nike?
about brands. I
No?
don't,
Okay.
no, I grew up. I wore whatever my mom bought me. That's it. That's what I wore.
Okay, well, that's fine.
But
That's
it was
totally
all
fine.
types of brands. Like I don't know, Aeropostale, Hollister, all just different types of stuff like that. Growing up, Billabong. I like Billabong. That's cool. That was cool. I just like saying Billabong. It honestly doesn't matter what
Oh,
the
I
clothes are
love
made out of.
Billabong. It's yeah, all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
yeah,
I like
the surf
surfing.
brands are
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, I think surf brands are cool. I've never really gotten into it because I just wear what's comfortable and has it feels like me. It just has to feel like me. Like I feel like this shirt feels like me a
Yeah.
bit. I mean, and I've always been like, I don't really care about logo. I just want to feel good in
Mm,
it. That's kind of what it is. Yeah.
yeah. Logo's not for everybody. You don't have to wear logo. That's just for some people, if you
Well,
really love a
because
brand, whatnot.
yeah, yeah. Because I feel like
Um,
you're repping someone else's brand when I'd rather always rep my own brand. If I had one, I just didn't have one. So I was like, oh, I don't want to give these guys free marketing. But I guess you wear those clothes so that people give you recognition for you affording it. I guess I don't know. They represent with you. Like if they like those clothes, then they'll probably like you more if you wear those clothes. And so people wear it for that reason. But
it's
I
like saying you
yeah
belong to a club, and this is a member.
right
I'm a member of this club. This is what I believe in. That's really what the logo thing is. Marco
right.
the Hexagon gave you 5555. That was really nice of him.
Marco, that guy's awesome too. I hope he's in. I hope him and Funding
I
Jim are
like
at
Marco the Hexagon.
the Vegas meetup.
I'm
I
so
can't wait to talk to
jealous.
them. Thank you
I
so much,
can't
Marco.
go.
Let's go.
I wish I could go. Um, Jimmy X said I would definitely wear Hex stuff. Okay, Jimmy X, I'm gonna
I
definitely
mean,
hit you
I
up.
do wear Hex clothing, so I do like the brand already.
Yeah, it's a great logo. I'm telling you,
I
and
had like
obviously it
yeah,
means something to all of us. That's so cool. And the community is growing. At our Hex meetup in the UK, the London meetup last week, there was like all people I didn't recognize. It was like a lot of newbies. They're like, I just onboarded onto Hex. I've sacrificed
awesome.
to Pulsex, and then I got into Hex, and I'm like, this is cool. Like a lot of all new faces, and I'm not all, but a lot of new faces and people who just got in, and they're showing up for the meetups. That's a
That's
good
pretty
sign.
cool. I wait,
Yeah,
have I? Yeah, I've never been to any meetups in the past 2 years, but going to the Vegas one, that'll be super cool.
that would be
Hope
really
to see
fun.
a lot of you there. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I know. I'll go to the next one. Hopefully, I'll be able to go. K4K tomorrow is the big
Oh,
interview
yeah.
between Peter Schiff and Richard Hart.
Mm,
And I've actually been researching him a little bit, and Peter Schiff, and he's a gold guy. He's into gold.
mhm.
And I mean,
It's
needless
pretty
to say,
funny.
if he's really into gold and has a whole company that sells gold, then
Yeah, that's why he's into gold. His company is
it's gonna
about
be
gold. It's like, what else is he gonna show? He's not gonna go, forget everything I built. Bitcoin's better than what I've been selling you guys. If he doesn't have a business in selling you crypto, he's not about selling it to you. So why would he tell you good things about crypto? He's never gonna accept that. It's kind of unfortunate. I'm sure Richard's gonna wreck him in that regard. So it's so easy for Richard to win these types of debates in a way because he's on the right side of history. And so he doesn't have like even though he does have skin in the game, it's like he can talk about any crypto like Bitcoin or Ethereum and talk about how they're better than his products. So it's not like he has skin in the game for those. And so he's not really biased in that regard. So
I mean, but if
it's
you look at like what he stands for Peter Schiff, like one of his big, why he shills gold is because of inflation, right? And because of what's happening in inflation, the value of money is going down so much, you need to buy gold or else you're gonna, not have anything at the end. So that's not dissimilar to crypto, right? And then he's also very much about how we're getting all our freedoms taken away, and he talks about that a lot. So
yeah,
he's not
no, he's a
completely incongruous to what we stand for in this
oh yeah,
community. It's
he's
just
definitely not
he's just
for
not into crypto.
government. He's not for government. Like that's
Yeah,
what I do appreciate about him. I've
yeah,
watched the whole video. It was like I don't know how many hours it was. Maybe it was a couple hours on YouTube of him during the Occupy Wall Street movement, where he went out into the public with a mic and a camera crew, and he's asking people, "Hey, what do you think about this? Why do you think it's the corporate America versus government?" And he's answering questions. He's instructing these kids, and they don't know which side is wrong. And he was telling them, businesses and corporations they can only encourage you to buy things that they create. They can't force you to do anything. And it's he thinks it's not Wall Street. It's the government that has the power to do all this stuff. If it didn't have this crazy power, then they wouldn't need you wouldn't need all these like lobbyists and all this stuff. Because if they didn't have the power to begin with, then there's no one to buy because they can't do much. So it kind of starts with the government, and then if there's ever a possibility that that government can super interfere with all this, all the businesses and everything, of course there's going to be people trying to play that game and make influence. And so it kind of starts with the government having the power to begin with, and so eventually we're heading to all this decentralized nature of all this stuff. Like imagine when money is fully decentralized, like it was for thousands of years.
yeah.
Like gold and everything. It wasn't like, hey, where are you spending that gold? You're not allowed. We're gonna
Mm,
we're gonna delete your account on gold. Like
mm,
what? No, you can't. I'm allowed to trade with anyone I want in the world at any moment. There was never any of these rules about that. And now since money's more trackable these days lately, they're like, you know what? We should censor anybody we don't like. What? How are you supposed to make changes in the government that you're currently under if they're destroying certain people's ability to communicate and transact with other humans? So like you can't even get to assemble to make change because they shut off your bank account. You can't interact with
mm,
society. You can't fly and meet the people you need to because the
mm.
people in power can just turn off your ability to assemble and transact. It destroys all democracy if you do that. So we need crypto super fast, like really badly. That's why I love being in the crypto space. It feels like the most important thing in the world right now.
It is. It is. It's the most important thing, and it's the biggest opportunity, like in the history of mankind. I mean, whenever could you ever make 6 million X on your money? And
Right,
I mean, that's
right.
just
That's
insane. A
it's just
dollar could turn into
ridiculous.
$6 million. I mean, come on, it's so
Like
nuts.
like we know people in the hex community who have turned $100 into $1 million and $1,000 into 10 million, and people go, "What? No!" Like they just don't believe that because they're like, "Wait, but I've had $100 before, and I don't have no million. There's no way that could happen. Like in a year and a half, apparently it can." So that's crypto. You kind of have to show people what's been possible sometimes before they'll
Yeah,
even start to wrap their head around it. That's why Richard starts with, Bitcoin did 6.9 million X from a penny. And I made a
yeah.
video going back to actually the lowest price recorded was like less than a tenth of a penny. So you can even 10x and a half that to get Bitcoin did over 112 million X. So that's what's possible, guys. Someone possibly could have made that return. It's like that's the kind of stuff we're in because if there's something that they're just printing infinity of and then there's something there's not infinity of, well, guess what? It's going to go up in value of the thing that goes up infinity. So
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think being multimillionaires in the future is too outlandish for a lot of us.
No, it's really not. It's not. I mean, it's very real. So, I
Yeah.
mean, this community is going to be some of the wealthiest people in the world are going to be from this community. and of this community. And I think that that's going to be such an interesting social phenomenon, and people are going to talk about it. And then, because we're so early, we don't see it, but people will talk about it like, oh my gosh, that person got into hex in the first couple of years, or that person sacrificed for Pulse Chain or for Pulse X, and they're like an original, like you'll just be classified as this other, like, like this whole other stratosphere of whatever,
Yeah.
right? Of wealth.
I love
It's
I love that part in the highest of stakes trailer. It's at the end, and it's Richard talking right before he turns on the Ferrari with like the push to start. It's pretty cool. And he's just like, yeah, all those crazy loon birds you thought were crazy and invested in cryptocurrency, they're going to be the 1% who own half of everything. Boom, start up the Ferrari. Like that's literally that's what it's going to be. And people are going to be like, but wait, I have all these dollars and oh, they're not worth anything. Like it feels like almost clickbaity to say stuff like that, but that's the trend. If you look at like gold, it's lost in the last just 90 years or so. If you look at the price of gold in dollars, that's in like, I mean, I guess they say generations are like 15 years or 20 years or something like that. But like your grandma could still be alive since that time, and she's lost 99% of her dollar's spending value. You're down 99%. Like all your family's wealth from that time that was in dollars, gone. Like, is that okay? That's not how it's supposed to be. Your money isn't supposed to depreciate in value over time. It's supposed to go up in value. It's because they print more of it, it goes down in value versus everything else. It's crazy. Man, we're not even talking about Pulsex. We're talking about other stuff.
I know, yeah, we're kind of going off on a tangent. We had an agenda, but we're not sticking to it very well, are we? But it's okay. It's okay.
That interview with Peter Schiff, everyone should. What's the? Do you know the off the top of your head the website? People need to sign up
Is
because
it
it's very
Coco
important.
or something? I signed
Maybe
up. Wait,
someone who knows it, post it in the chat. Please be
Coco.
responsible. Don't post other bad stuff in the chat. But posting that in the chat is super important. Getting as many signups to this as possible, and you can use a burner email to watch it. This improves our chances of people like Funding Jim who have that pool with these higher level people to make new relationships, possibly with like Tony Robbins, I don't know, like Elon Musk, all these different people who they only talk to people who have this type of influence and have done great things in the past. So if this interview goes really well with their event planner that they talk to, that guy is more likely to work with us again if it goes really well and we get lots of numbers. If nobody signs up and we all just try to watch the video later on YouTube or something, we don't actually generate as much views and stuff for that guy. So he looks like he did a bad job, even though we're all going to watch it later. So just watch it live, sign up. It helps the whole community, and you're going to watch it live first thing. It's going to be great. So it's just a little extra step, but it's really important we get as many people to watch it as possible.
It's also on Peter Schiff's Twitter, but that's how I found it. And I signed up and I got an email confirmation so that I can watch it tomorrow. It's at 10 p.m. UK time. So that's going to be your 6 hours. So it'll be 4 p.m. your time tomorrow. So that's perfect. And from what I understand, if this goes well and there's high ratings, then Richard has a really good chance of interviewing with Tony Robbins.
I would love to see that. I love Tony Robbins.
So
he has amazing stuff.
everybody needs to sign up and watch it live, to your point, like not after the fact, not, they need to watch it and engage at the actual event. And I mean, that's the least that we can do. And plus it's going to be so fun to watch. Like, I'm seriously, I want to have a party.
I know, dude. I can't wait. I hope it's not like a 20-minute one. It better be like an hour, 2-hour battle or something. Like, I think they're going to agree at first a lot. I think he wants it to be an agreeable meetup at first. You know how sometimes you want to agree on a bunch of stuff first, so you kind of accept the other person can be right in some regards, and then you get to the real disagreements, and then you have the real good talking points. Because you don't just want people shouting back and forth and never getting anywhere. That's not too great. So I think it'll be a good one.
That way. I don't think, because he's not pushing one crypto. It's not the battle of the cryptos. He doesn't believe in it at all, So, and then you have Richard who's, like in his own. So it actually could be quite a philosophical discussion. It will get heated. There's no question. And I think they'll both kind of maybe play it up for the drama, but, because they're going to have fundamental different opinions on and philosophies on money and life and society. Right. But
Like gold is
I think the most heated battles is like religion. With the difference between the wars of religions are like between religions is the most violent. It's the same with
true.
crypto. One maxi versus another maxi, man, it gets like crazy.
Crypto nerds don't get violent. They just type on the keyboard. Oh man, they're like the super keyboard warriors. I mean, the
Yeah.
thing with like with Schiff, I guess, like the only thing I see with gold is if you hold it physically, then if everything goes to crap, maybe you'll end up on top in several years, like if technology fails or something, like if we don't have internet. Because if we still have internet, just think crypto demolishes. Because
Hmm.
obviously people value digital things and things that aren't touchable. Like, what do you value?
Yeah.
Friendship? Can't touch friendship. Do you value love? Can't touch that. There's all these things that you can not touch, and people value them. And people like digital art. They like digital skins on their stuff. So there's all these things that you can't touch, and you still have value in them. And so even if it's just like a congregation of people believing in something having value, that is enough. Because if enough people value it, it has value. That's all it is. It's just an agreement. It's like, yep, this has value. Here you go.
Um,
So
K4K Bunny Chipa really wants to know your opinion on the OA sacrifice and Pulsex, the 50 million billion sacrifice. He's asked a few times, so if maybe you want to talk about that.
who asked? Bunny Chaka? Who's that?
Chiba,
Oh,
Chiba,
Chiba.
yeah.
They want to know about the 48 billion. I already made a tweet
Hmm.
today. It was
Hmm.
I did the math, and I think it ends up being 103 trillion is how much the OA has of Pulsex at the current standing, and then user supply for 1 billion um, at a better rate. That's why 1 billion is able to be worth so much in relation to what they put in, like $48 billion worth. But they got
Hmm.
such a worse rate than the people who got in early. So there's 103 trillion for the OA, and then there's about 17.5 trillion for normal user supply, which is very similar percentages to the Pulse chain supply. I think actually users in Pulsex actually own a larger percent of the total supply than
Hmm.
in Pulse chain. But I mean, there's not really much to say. You can maybe I'm not sure what they want to hear about that because I think I can just give you the numbers, and then my opinion is just kind of it's just an opinion. A lot of people have different thoughts on it, but what we've seen with Hex, there is a large ownership percent in Hex, and look how that did. Is anybody upset about that? Nobody's upset. It crushed it. It did like the best in 2020, and if you consider 2020 to whatever to 2022, it was still the best performing crypto. So that's what you get with this type of system setup, and it's kind of taking people a while for it to click of why does that work. Oh, if a lot of it isn't being sold, then it's like not even in the market. What matters is actually what's available for people, and if slowly more and more diamond hands are collecting it
Yeah.
and they aren't selling, the price just has to go up as more people come in and there's less available for more people. Like more people coming in, less supply available. What do you think the price does? That's all that matters. So people think it's bad to have some entity that owns a lot, but if that guy's just not selling, what's the downside? The only
For
downside is it
BNB,
might sell. It's like,
the top
okay.
100 addresses of BNB own 90% of the supply. So
Yeah,
we're not
lots
the
of coins
only.
have that same exact thing. It's some people think this is different. I don't know why. If
I don't
anything,
think
this is
anyone
different in a better way. This one doesn't sell.
who. Well, yeah.
Have you heard of like Link? There's memes about Sergey just dumping Link constantly. They can see his developer address, and he just dumps Link like on the reg, and people are like, "No, stop dumping Sergey, please." That's what that founder does. I mean, I'm saying or not saying Richard's the OA or anything, but that big address hasn't ever market sold. So what are people saying about that? Everyone just goes high percent centralized. No, that's not. It's not centralized in the way that it can change the rules of the contract. It the only thing it can do is it holds a large amount of the coins. That's it. It's just like, oh, that guy's rich. Okay. There's rich people in everything. You have to get rid of rich people now? Is that what they're talking about? Doesn't make any sense.
And for anyone who's been in the system for, in the RH ecosystem for a little bit, it's signature, this move. So none of us, I'm not surprised. I knew that was going to happen. I expected it to happen. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just part of the strategy.
Hey, there was some other person donated $5, but it disappeared. There it is. Pulse Max, K4K for the win. Great show, guys. There you go. I just gotta call him out.
That was
Thanks, Pulse
nice.
Max. I get so many nice comments. It's just
You
that there's
do.
that.
I'm like, this is much nicer than mine. I'm just kidding. I get nice ones too.
You
This
have
is
to get
really
nice
nice.
ones.
No, I get really nice comments.
Yeah.
Nice to
Jim
meet
Rat
you.
says, I watch all your videos. I support K4K crypto. Thank you, Jim Rat. 1999.
Oh yeah,
That guy
Jim
is
Rat.
awesome. That guy's
He is
making
cool.
great videos. He's got his own channel. I think it's Pulsification. He can say it in chat if he wants.
He's
But
he's very entertaining too. He's
I
funny.
can't I can't
He's
wait for him and Crypto Stylist to have talk. I will watch that for sure.
It's on, Jim Rat. We're Crypto General. We'll stream. We got to do it soon.
That'll be fun. So, yeah, but there's so many great personalities in the crypto community. People with all different talents and backgrounds and perceptions on stuff. It's really awesome. You just got to find the people that are most helpful to you. Not everyone's like, I was gonna say piece of tea. That's not it.
Mhm.
What's the saying? Cup of tea. Oh my goodness. So,
I was like, that
um,
doesn't sound right.
no,
Okay,
no,
okay.
no,
I'm like, that
oh
doesn't
man,
sound right.
not enough
Piece of
coffee
cake
yet.
or a cup of tea. I think you kind of mix the metaphor, but it's okay. It's cute.
But yeah, I
Um,
I try to keep my stuff to meat and potato content, and that's why I don't really do live streams very often, is because they do get off track, and like it's fun. I do enjoy it, and people watching live enjoy it, but for rewatchers I don't think it is as enjoyable, and I try to make evergreen content that helps
mhm,
people into the future. So that's why I didn't really make a video on the OA sacrificing or anything,
mm.
because people don't need to know about that in a year from now. It doesn't really matter,
No, that's true. But you're the Pulsex expert, so I think that if they want, people are going to want anyone to comment on it. They're going to want to know what
Pulse
you think.
expert.
Pulsex expert. Um, okay, so
We got
are
a
you
few.
speaking?
Yeah.
Are you speaking at? You are right at Vegas. Are you going to do a panel or?
I said I would, so I guess I am. I don't. I mean, I'll talk about something. I can talk about anything, so it'll be
Okay,
fun.
no, you can. You can talk about it. Kinetics is in the chat. Hi, Kinetics. Kinetics
Kinetics.
is my Discourse Syndicate family. He's probably wondering what happened, but
Yeah, he's like,
we'll talk
why
about
isn't
it
this
later. I
on
was
Discord
having
Syndicate?
mega problems, Kinetics. We couldn't
Yeah,
like
it
it's
was.
awful.
It
So
was really
I didn't want
weird.
to not stream. So that's why we're here.
But yeah, we got 450 viewers. They're all here to see crypto. I don't get that
Okay.
many viewers. So let's see. What else do we want to talk about? We
Let's talk
got.
about that. Okay, this one I want to ask you. So let's
Okay.
fast forward to the launch of Pulse Chain, right? It launches,
I
and
would love to
then
fast forward to the launch of Pulse Chain.
let's fast forward and we're there, right? And it's happening, and people are like freaking out, and like goes up a lot, and then it's going to be very volatile but exciting. But my question is, and I think one of the big keys to the success of Pulse Chain is the participation, right? How much people really use it. So
Mm.
what is your thoughts on I guess yield farming, liquidity,
Oh
is
yeah,
it
yeah.
liquidity farming, yield farming? What do you
Either one.
think is the allure of doing it on Pulse Chain, and what is your kind of thoughts on the level of engagement that we could see?
I think this is really, no one's ever done this. So there has been yield farming in the past. This is going to be like, no one's ever done it where you get one whole half of the side for free. Plus it's on just a way cheaper network that includes allowing you to use Ethereum assets. So if you have a farming thing on Binance Smart Chain, well, you don't have Ethereum assets over there getting extra benefit. You only have the assets that are on that chain. We have the availability of onboarding everything, every asset from Ethereum over to our side, and people are going to want to start trading their assets just over there in wrapped form because it's cheaper than doing it on Ethereum. Like, you could trade a whole year on Pulse Chain for a penny, or you can like get wrecked for hundreds of dollars on Ethereum, and you could have been
Right.
trading the same assets over on Pulse Chain. So
Mm-hmm.
you're like, what? We're gonna take so much of their utility, and it's all gonna be on Pulse Chain, and it's gonna be so much better. Um, just by the cheap fees alone, plus the better, faster speed, like we're literally 5 times faster. In my one video, I talked about we have 5,760 blocks in Ethereum a day, which doesn't sound like a lot, does it? To fit all those transactions in, there's only 5,760. Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have 5 times that at 28,800. So
Mm-hmm.
just that alone, we are 5 times as fast. You're waiting a fifth of the time. That sounds nice. That's a good sales pitch. Fifth of the time for
Mm-hmm.
your stuff to go through. You're paying 10,000th of the price. And you have all that stuff just working on Pulse Chain. Like, it's so smart to just implement all of that. And so your question was about Pulse Chain and what did we want to answer there?
And what is your view, like kind of your not prediction, because no one has a crystal ball, but
Oh, the yield
your
farming and
thoughts
how
of like the
benefit.
level of engagement that you think that we could see? Like, are you
Mm,
optimistic? Are you
mm,
cautious? What do you think are the challenges? What do you think are the advantages? Just trying to be analytical about it.
right. I think the fact that we're gonna have that 10,000x, or not an x, 10,000 more, not times, 10,000 more pairs of trading activity on our platform is gonna draw a lot of eyeballs. Like, there, you know
I
how people
agree.
like ignore Hex
Mm,
even though it's done so well? Sure, that's just one coin among thousands. But when all the coins are involved, how can you ignore all of the coins? You can't.
yeah,
You can't
yeah,
ignore every coin that now has this extra utility over here, and people got it for free on top of that. It's not
mm,
just that you can now move your stuff over there, you immediately have stuff over there already.
mm,
So everyone has free money, and everyone you've onboarded already has a MetaMask wallet, don't they? It's like the
yeah,
easiest onboard. It's like that's what we're talking about onboarding people. How hard is it to get a no coiner who knows nothing to get into MetaMask, to bridge over to buy something on a Dex? They're like, what's that? What's a Dex? And you're like, huh, I'd rather be doing anything else right now. So we're onboarding everyone who is the best possible person to onboard in an instant. You can't get much better than that. Like, how do you onboard everyone in an instant that is the best possible person better than instantaneously? You can't. So, and you're giving them free stuff. So it's like free money. It's not like, hey, you're onboarded if you pay something. It's free. So I think we're gonna have really crazy numbers. I haven't like run like what percent of Ethereum users will come over and all that. I mean, it could run those numbers, but I can't give you like direct numbers. I'm very excited, I'll say that, to see all these numbers come in, because we've seen billions of dollars of total value locked for types of liquidity events that were smaller than this, in my opinion. I think in scope and scale, this is going to be better than those. So we could see multiple billions of dollars in just a few weeks, I would say,
okay.
which is huge for Pulsex, of course. Yay. Yo, so much buy and burn.
So, yeah, that's going to be incredible. You know, when I was looking at BNB, one of the things that I did notice about it and the difference, because there's a lot of comparison. I did a stream with John Witt a couple weeks ago, and he compared Pulsex to BNB, and so I started to do some analysis on it. And one of the things about BNB though is that an it has a fiat on and off ramp. I think that's so important. Somebody in
Mm.
the community needs to figure it out, like how to do the fiat on and off ramp, because that's so important in
Well,
order
yeah,
to
but
get to your point
aren't you
for people.
aren't you happy to buy in before there's a fiat on ramp?
Of course. What I'm talking about in order to really be able to scale this, because
Yeah.
BNB went up 6,800 times since its inception, right? Since it's
Well, they've
from
been around
all-time
way
low to
longer
all-time
too.
high.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really a good return, you know? And so I'm just looking at the things that they have that we don't have that I think that we should look into getting so that we can
Well,
also
I think
maximize the
mhm.
performance
Oh,
of this
I
product.
really that is a yeah, we definitely should get a fiat on ramp as soon as possible. But I don't think it's in any way necessary for the stuff to do well. And it's
No,
also just on top of we can have that built later, and all the people who get in at this point are going to benefit from that immensely, right? Like, if imagine this stuff goes on Coinbase and all that, it's just the floodgates are just the gates can only be opened. You can't just like we can't go backwards. The whole Dex thing is pretty amazing technology in itself, and it's only been around like 2 years. So let's see how that plays out in bear market and all this. It'll be very interesting
yeah, I know.
because we haven't seen these dexes perform in like a real bear market, I guess.
The other thing I noticed about BNB when it went up 89 times, and then it dropped 75%. Then it went up like 159 times, and it dropped 70%. Is a roller coaster ride. Do you
Wow.
think it's going to be as volatile for Pulse Chain and
Are
Pulsex?
you talking about Cake or BNB? I know
I'm
you're
talking
saying
about.
BNB. Oh, okay. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, we see 70% dips in Hex and stuff, and then it makes new all-time highs. I don't.
Mm,
There's no cure for over speculation and stuff like that. It's
mm-mm,
just humans have to do a bunch of buying and then a bunch of selling.
mm.
People, it just happens like that. That's just how these markets go. I've never seen anything that goes up 100% only drops 20, 100% only drops 20 forever. Like, eventually there's a bigger drop. So there's going to be volatility, but it's after huger run-ups than you've lost.
Exactly. You're
That's
still you're still winning.
like
You're still
eventually you just get to this point where these people who are holding it are like, I'm not selling if it goes to zero. And if you get enough people who do that, it doesn't go any further. And then there's the buyers are more than the sellers, it goes up. So that's why staying in crypto as long as possible without selling a bottom is just the best ROI thing you can do with your money because it just goes up more than anything else. It's just volatile. So if you do get in at the top and you've never experienced losing 50% or 80% of your money before, that hurts a lot. Maybe don't get in at the top, but if you hold from any point at long enough, you're on the right coins. Like Bitcoin, it's 3.5 years, I believe. If you bought it even at the tippy top, you were positive after 3.5 years. So
yeah.
yeah,
No, it's pretty. It was. I mean, for people invested, they did well. So it's really interesting. And then their ICO, their sacrifice phase raised 15 million versus our 670 million.
ooh,
Gosh, that's crazy. And then the Pulsex is the power of this community. It's really unbelievable. And even from a year from now, I think it's going to be exponentially bigger. It's
yeah. I think we're picking up steam with
oh
the
boy,
amount of people and the quality of people we're onboarding nowadays. Like we're talking to Peter Schiff about Hex. Like
yeah,
no one thought that was gonna happen,
yeah.
right? Um, so and like we should I don't know we were gonna have an interview with Lex Friedman, but that's been delayed. For Pulse Chain, get that done. It's much better to launch Pulse Chain than talk to Lex Friedman. I'll say it first, for
We're going to be
sure.
bigger than Oprah's ego. That's what Bufo on the beat says. Somebody says they can't hear us. Can you guys not hear us?
What? No, we've been talking this whole time. Someone would have said something.
I mean, I can hear you on my computer pretty well. My
I,
voice is so loud.
I'll pull it closer to my mouth.
Yeah, I'll do the same just in case. Um, so the other question I wanted to ask you, when Pulse Chain launches, are you going to be really looking at what kind of projects are launching and like studying that at all? Or are you not, you're really more interested in like game theory and keeping it more on that side?
Oh, like, am I looking forward to other projects or something
Yeah, are
over
you going
there?
to be like looking at them and analyzing them, not necessarily publicly, but just you as
Yeah, I think I'll probably look into some as they're performing and see how well they do for a while.
yeah.
You know, it's possible, yeah, if you don't get in early, you miss out on lots of potential returns if it does fine. But I think Pulsex beats every other coin. I don't know how you can outperform it, so I'm not really worried I'm gonna miss out on something because
Mm-mm.
even if there's a coin that goes 50x, well, okay, Pulsex probably did better than that. So,
Mm.
maybe at a certain point after it's made so much and has a lot of liquidity, then like a lower liquidity coin play might do well from like a reputable source or something. But I think sticking with Richard Hart coins and the team who doesn't produce rug pulls that's where you want to put your money as
Yeah, no, no,
opposed
no.
to
I'm
other.
not. I'm not suggesting to look at other coins to invest in. It's not that. I'm looking at it from the point of view of like, if I open, everything's a shopping metaphor for me because I'm in fashion. So if I open a store, the
Mhm.
store is only good as the product in it, the designers in it, and what you buy from those designers and the product that you have. So to look at like the health and the value of the store, you look at what's in it to see, is that good product? Because there's all these
Mm.
things that we can't gatekeep what comes in. All these things are going to be built on top of Pulse. So I'm going to be looking at things that I'm like, okay, this is interesting. This is high quality. This could be, it's almost like branding the network. Like Ethereum is known to be the premier network for the top tier NFTs, right? And I'm not pushing NFTs, but I'm just saying that
Mm.
for my friends who do collect them, they're like, oh, well, that NFT is launched on Polygon and not ETH. And Ethereum is the only place where the premier NFT products are launched. It's like the Saks Fifth Avenue or the
Uh-huh.
premier, whatever, the best and most high
Yeah.
quality, most prestigious, right?
Mhm.
So I think that with Pulse Chain, it'll be interesting to see sexy and interesting projects that launch on our chain as
Yeah.
to increase the value, and people want to be associated with the chain because I'm trying to bring other
Right.
businesses that are on other chains to come to Pulse Chain, and so they always ask, well, what other projects are on there? And so you just got to kind of
Yeah,
it,
that
it,
will.
it's
I think it
from
will
that.
be cool.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to invest in other coins, not that.
No, I
Yeah.
see what you're saying. Yeah, I think it will be cool to see very. I guess it doesn't have to be specific necessarily, but high quality stuff over on the Pulse chain. That could be a good, marketing thing. Is like, oh, we don't have all these. I mean, there's always going to be those rug pull scams that show up on every new chain just because there's new
Of
users and
course.
stuff like that. So you can't really get around that. That's kind of just that's crypto.
Mm,
Um, but you mean like would I go into detail on videos talking about these different awesome new stuff that comes out perhaps? I could do that. Depends how
mm,
good it is. If it's very interesting or if it's onboarding a lot of new people, that'd be
mm,
cool.
mm.
I like getting more people over there. So if anything that helps facilitate that, I know a project or two that may facilitate helping new users come to the chain for this
Yeah.
specific purpose. So that kind of stuff, yeah, that is awesome stuff. And so I'm excited to see more of that on the Pulse chain, and I'll probably talk about that in the
Mm,
future. I do a
mm.
video about a faucet. I won't name the token,
Uh-huh. I
but
saw
there's
it.
one where there's literally, if you look back into Bitcoin's day,
Mm,
what was his name? Was it Brian Anderson? Can't remember his name. Something, an early Bitcoin guy in 2010, they set up a free Bitcoin faucet where basically you go there and you get 5 free Bitcoin. 5 free Bitcoin nowadays is a lot of money, and you can get it for free, and you can
yeah.
claim as many as you wanted out of the faucet, like over a certain amount of days or something. So I made a whole video on that about how you could become a millionaire, multimillionaire for literally free, like in cryptocurrency. That's how crazy it is. You might have to wait 10 years, but waiting 10 years to be a free multimillionaire isn't very hard, guys, and it doesn't take much time. That's how crazy cryptocurrency is and how this stuff appreciates a lot. And so if you ever imagine buying some, yeah, like if you got it for free and became a multimillionaire, you could have done that from that faucet. There's going to be similar stuff like that with Pulse Chain, and if you can get more than that amount in however many years, if you hold it and you don't just like sell it early, multimillionaire. That's kind of like the returns we're potentially looking at. That's why I'm really excited about this Pulse Chain stuff because I can really get behind the team who created the base layer, and I feel they're going to scale it even more so and quicker than Ethereum in the future. It's not like they're just going to launch it and be like, "Whew, all done." Like, no. It's like an ongoing thing. No expectation of work from others, but if anything starts happening with the chain and maybe it starts going slower, or we get so much adoption it needs an upgrade. Who do you think's the fastest to upgrade in the best possible way? Richard and team. So,
Mhm.
so I'm very glad to plant your roots in a place that has the best growing potential, I think is the best long-term plan. So Pulse Chain,
Yeah.
long-term thinking.
Yeah. I agree.
That could be
I
our
do.
branding. It's like, yo, come to Pulse Chain. We're actually developing for the long term over here. That's how you get the most gains in crypto as well. Wouldn't you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good
Gosh.
question. Yeah.
Just thinking ahead, because as everyone's now, it's like the sacrifice is done. And so they're like, okay, well, now we're looking ahead to launch and then just trying to anticipate what's going to happen. And, I watched a video with RG3 and John Wick where they talked about, it was right after Big Payday, and they
Oh,
talked about all the things that people were like really disappointed about and that went differently than what everyone thought. And because we don't know, we think it's going to go one way and some things will go as we planned and some things won't. And they were just like analyzing all those different things and all the emotions that were around it. And I thought that was so interesting to look at everything, watch a stream that of hindsight after like a big event like that. And so I think that it's going to be equally as dramatic after Pulse Chain launch. A lot of
yeah,
highs,
you're
some
super
disappointment.
right. There's definitely some stuff that will happen that no one would have expected, probably. So that'll be fun to figure out, and then we can look back and be like, "Wow, that was actually super smart." That's how I think it's going to be looked at it as, just like how, like you were
Mhm.
alluding to, with the big payday. So I'm really excited just to see this whole thing launch and see it unfold, because I think these are going to be some. the- I don't think a lot of people have gotten into coins this early, so they're
Yeah.
very excited to see what's it like to be early, you know. And I hope these people don't, like, all these people are like, "What do I do? Do I trade it right away? Do I cash out? Like, do I get this stuff
No.
and do I, should I buy this afterwards and then get my gains and then let it ride?" It's like, guys, you're thinking about it too hard. You get your allocation and you hold it. Maybe you
You
do some
hold
of the
it.
stuff that the coins can do to benefit you a little bit more. Maybe you stake it and you get some extra incentive. Maybe you delegate and you earn a little bit extra pulse. Then you hold it, guys. Like the stuff's gonna grow. We are so early. There's like what 140,000 total people. Some overlap between Pulse Chain and Pulsex. Total amount of numbers of addresses that sacrifice, and most people have more than one sacrifice address. So there's probably even less than that amount of people, maybe 100,000. There's millions of people already in crypto, so we're not even like 1% of that. And then there's just like the rest of the world that we're onboarding. Who onboards more new real people than like the Hexkin community? We have like crazy meetups all around the US, and we have all of these onboarding channels and sharing information. I see new people talking about onboarding Hexkins more than any other community. And I could be biased because I'm only really looking at the Hex community, but I don't really see this type of high level content and long term thinking in any other community. It's all, what's the next coin? What's the next coin? Like nobody else has several channels dedicated to one ecosystem like this. Like all the, like we have like we have so many people we can't even name them all. We're like, oh, if I start down the list, we won't get to the end of this video ever. Like it just goes so long. And so I'm just really excited to see this whole thing launch, and all these people are going to be, I think they're going to do really well in the future with this ecosystem versus anything else out there.
I think it's going to be incredible to watch when it launches. But I think that to me, just as exciting is to see what our community does and what we build on top of it and how we evolve and what we do with the wealth that we accumulate. And I think it's really going to be extraordinary because this is a very, very special group of people. I
It
mean,
is,
it's because
yeah,
we have similar beliefs and values. It's not just
right.
about being rich.
Yeah, it's not just about the gains. We're building this community of people with shared values. Like we care about our sovereignty, our freedoms, and we want others to do well. Like we care about other people in our community. There's so many people just, like, I literally heard all these people in the space today. They're just talking about, how can I help these people? I want to help people and I don't want them to get scammed.
Mm,
Who else in other communities is talking like that?
yeah.
No, they're like, when 100x, when moon, sir, I'll pay you 5 Bitcoin to tell me how to trade. It's like, Oh my god. You can't be serious. And people like I can't imagine taking people's money and pretending you can help them trade better. And then they lose all their remaining money. Like what? Who does that? Like, oh my gosh. And do you know how many people contact me daily trying to get me to sell something or promote something on my channel? And I'm just like, whoa, dude, come on. They don't even, it's like they don't even try in half the emails. But I bet if you respond to these, they're like, hey, I'll give you this amount of dollars, talk about this product, put it in the description. Like, there's so many of these people that if you have any sort of following on YouTube, people will pay you to say anything on your channel. And so a lot of these people don't disclose it, even though it is like technically illegal to do so. A lot of them don't, and you don't know what they're selling. What am I selling? I'm not selling anything. We're
Yeah.
just talking about what we believe in, and if you like it too, great. Experience the best gains you've ever seen ever, and also be a part of an awesome community who wants you to do well and teach you all this awesome stuff. So this is the best place to be, in my opinion. You're right about the beliefs and shared values we have. We're just growing and growing. Eventually, you get to this amount of people where you don't even have to transact with people outside of our ecosystem. Like if you get enough people in this, we're not there yet, obviously, but eventually, if you have enough people with these beliefs, you have like a country of people. Like you got all the, I don't know, people in masonry and building and technology and then fashion and clothing design. If you have all these people in your ecosystem, well, guess what? You don't need to interact with all the outside people. And they're going to look in all those outside people and be like, yo, they're like all winning over there and they're living in this really wealthy society. I want to get in on that. And that's kind of like where we're headed in the not so far future. So being here early, you just get to have a bigger piece of this growing pie.
I know, and you can do more to change the world. Hey, K4K, Motley Investor just congratulated you on 10,000 plus subs and
Oh, yeah.
500 active viewers. That's so great.
Yeah, I
Congratulations.
just hit 10K today. I went to sleep at like 9:40 or
That's so
something. I was like, oh, there's no way
exciting.
I'm getting 60 overnight. And there was like 60 overnight. So I was like, okay, I guess it's over 10,000. And I did tweet about today. Thank you, Motley. Yeah, that was
Motley was one of
such
the
a
first
crazy.
Mexicans I met. I met him and we
Yeah.
had dinner. It was like a dinner with him and Wendy's for attendees and Funding Jim and RG3. It was so nice. And I was with a colleague and they were just so helpful. I was like, I think I'm going to start streaming. And they're like, yeah. And they helped me. And it's so cool.
Yeah, thanks, Motley. Yeah, this whole channel growth thing, I'm still surprised every day. I'm like, dude, why are there so many subscribers? What's going on here? So,
I'm
but
not, because you're smart. You're smart and you're very earnest. You're very trustworthy. Like you have a
someone said
very
that the other
honest
day.
face.
They said I look honest. They're like, that's weird to say
And
through the
pure.
screen, but you seem like an honest person. I'm like, thanks.
You do.
I mean,
That
I
laugh,
guess
when you do
I do
that
try to be.
laugh, when you discover something, you do that laugh and it's hilarious. There's this laugh that you have when you discover something really big.
But
That like says it all. That's the money laugh.
I even started one of my videos laughing, and everyone liked that
I
intro. That
saw
was a
that.
pretty good one. That was such a good one. Cause what was that? That was yeah, because Richard he had just released like the night of that video about the Pulsex. Now you can stake it and earn incentive token,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah,
was like, wait
exactly.
a minute. So you're telling me I just get this free token with no risk, and I can sell that for yield that doesn't even push the price of the thing I'm staking down because it's a
Oh,
separate token? Wow. You shouldn't have, Richard. You just you just made this coin 10x better by just adding that. He's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna drip this little detail out and see if anybody picks up on it. And I was like, I'm picking up on it. I knew immediately I was making a video on that because I'm like a Pulsex bull, and I'm bullish on all these projects. Like Hex is still gonna do great. Pulse is gonna do amazing. Pulsex is gonna do great too. I'm just looking at the mechanics of, all right, what makes price go up more so than another coin? Don't people care about getting more out of it? Like some people have their ideas of what'll do well, but what actually matters? And so I look at like what are the liquidity pools going to look like? High liquidity means harder to move the price. You need more dollars to move it. And so I was like, okay, which one's going to have more liquidity? It seems like Pulse is going to have more liquidity. So it'll be harder to crash the price, but it's also harder to move up the price. And
yeah.
Pulsex should have less liquidity than Pulse Chain. Because the reason I say that, I'm not just like making stuff up. Pulse Chain, like ETH is attached to every coin on Ethereum. Guess what?
Mhm.
Pulse is replacing Ethereum tied to every single coin. So there's
Mhm.
liquidity in literally every pair tied to Pulse. That's that's all liquidity there. And so whenever you move up the price on one pair, well, all this arbitrage opportunity happens over on every single other pair, activating all that liquidity. And so you have to count all of that that's in the pools as opposed to just Pulsex, where it's like, oh, I'm not getting copied from Ethereum. I'm just going to be my own little pool. And there's no reason for it to be super liquid because it's just itself, maybe against Pulse or maybe also against a wrapped in stablecoin, and that'll just be created by the market. Like it's not guaranteed any liquidity will be there. The market is going to put some in there, and if it's not even incentivized, it may be very similar to Hex, where you're there's no reason to be a liquidity provider in Hex and experience impermanent loss on the 10,000x run up, because you can just make trustless interest using the contract and have
Mhm.
no impermanent loss. You get to keep all your coins and gain interest. Okay, that seems like a
Mhm.
better deal than providing liquidity and gaining, it's not really interest, but you're getting liquidity fees, but then you get super impermanent loss. So that's why there's
Mhm.
very low liquidity in Hex, and it goes up very easily because
Yeah,
everybody's like locked up, nobody's really selling, and nobody's in liquidity because that's just a worse deal than being locked up.
of
And
course.
so Pulsex is similar, where you're going to be like, well, why would I be a liquidity provider get impermanent loss? I'd rather just
Mm.
stake it, get free incentive token, and not sell it because it's being bought up by this other address that has infinite money from buying from,
Mm.
from all these other coins. Literally every other coin on the network. Any new coin that ever gets created, oh, how are you going to trade that? Oh, on Pulsex? Okay, we're taking a little bit of percent of every fee, and that's going to be used to buy Pulsex only. It's so ridiculous. We're like vampiring everybody else's coins trading volume, and we're like, you know what? You know what you want to buy with that? You know what you want to buy with your fee, 21%? You want to buy Pulsex, don't you? Oh, you don't have a choice? Okay. Thank you. And Pulsex price goes up, and then gets burnt. So it's not going back down from that buy, is it? No,
Mm.
it's not. And nobody in Pulsex is crazy enough to sell it for something that isn't doing all that awesome stuff. So I mean, if they are, I'm buying it. So whatever. And if I'm wrong, I don't know how I'm wrong, but that would I don't know how Pulsex isn't going to just smash everything. I've never seen a coin use every other coin's volume to buy only itself at that scale before on such a great network. So, whew, it's going to be good.
It's gonna be good. Really, really good. I'm so
Just a
excited.
hunch.
Oh gosh. I mean, I know I'm like really ready for it to launch.
Oh yeah?
No, because you distracted with the sacrifice, and then and then let's talk about the incentive token. By the way, you can stake the incentive token too, can't you?
That hasn't been like
Determined? Because
confirmed.
you can stake on Pancake Swap, you can stake the incentive token there. So I think there's speculation that you would be able to.
Yeah.
Okay, it hasn't been confirmed.
It's just that in that picture Richard posted, it was showing Pulsex being staked, and he mentioned that obviously you're not earning Pulsex because it's deflationary. There's
Right,
never going to be
or
any
the
more. You can't
incentive
earn
token.
Pulsex in any way. You have to market buy it if you want it. That's
Right.
probably good for price, in my opinion.
Yeah, very
Um,
good.
it's yeah. There's no stake it and earn Pulsex. There's yeah. You have to market buy it. So other than that, the incentive, like he was saying that you can earn incentive token with Pulsex, but not Pulsex itself. So he didn't say you can't stake incentive token. So yeah, maybe you can stake incentive token, and then people do
Mhm.
that. But we want people to provide liquidity so they get it. So
I think there's like 5 people now who said that I'm flirting with you. This is how rumors get started, guys. That's not good.
5 people? Are you really reading the chat?
I'm watching the stream. I'm like, gosh, like there's a lot of people saying that, but oh well. So be it. So rumors get started. It drives up ratings, so you know what's good.
True. People like to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's all I care about is ratings. I'm just kidding.
Mm.
Um, okay. And then Hmm.
What else are you
What do you want to
excited
talk about
about?
next?
What's got you
What do you want to
excited
talk about
about?
next?
What's got you most excited? Like, is there something you're really happy about with regards to Pulse Chain, other than it just launching? I mean, maybe that is what you're excited about. You can talk about that.
I'm excited to see what projects come onto Pulse Chain. Like
Ooh,
what kind of projects come on and see it really. I want to see it become the premier network where all the
cool.
most prestigious product projects go onto, and like, oh, you got to go on Pulse Chain because I work on a lot of Web3 projects, and it's always the debate of like, where do you launch it? You know what I mean? And where is it going to
Right.
be the home? And so I am excited to see and, help try to help in whatever way I can to position Pulse Chain as that premier network.
Yeah. If you frame it to people where Pulse Chain is kind of the long-term oriented chain, that's probably very valuable to people wanting to start something. They don't want to go, oh, Avalanche, is that going to be around and working in a year? I don't know. Well, Pulse Chain, they're very future oriented. They got people who are locked in for 15 years over there, you know?
Mm,
So like that's a user base that's going to be on Pulse Chain for 15
mm,
years guaranteed. You can just say like that's the type of people over there. Maybe you want to be with that community where there's users who are in this stuff for 15 years. They're not going to just
mm.
leave every summer there's a bear. So that's probably good that's a good way to market Pulse Chain, long-term thinking. Think ahead.
It's about the what is it they call it, the network effect. So how many people engage, and then I think
Metcalfe's
also I look
law,
at the quality of people who engage in projects, and
right?
that's tantamount to the success, I think, of the whole project. So that's something I'm going to look at because I think I have a, with my background, I can analyze that kind of thing pretty well.
Yeah.
So,
You know, I'm really
mhm.
excited for your next video. Like that one you talked to me about. I don't know if you want to disclose any of that now, but
Oh yeah, yeah, no, no,
your last
I'm very
one
happy
was
for
on point. Like everyone should go watch that video. I said it earlier in this stream, but
that. Okay.
is it called Streetwear? Do you know the name of that video you made?
The
Streetwear.
one about streetwear, like,
So good.
oh yeah,
Really
it was about
entertaining.
comparing Supreme and streetwear, how streetwear is similar to the crypto, the similarities and like the rise,
I
and
can't
how
believe you
it's.
put that together. It was really well done. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, thank you. My next one's going to be on Nike and how the brand used controversy to catapult itself from a really small third tier brand to, you know, uh, passing Adidas and also Reebok at the time. It was really small. It was super unknown, and then
mm,
they used controversy and that kind of brilliant marketing
ooh,
to
great
catapult.
ideas.
It was
Yeah,
so cool. Yeah, it was. I learned a lot by studying it, and so now I just had to put the video together.
that's
So
gonna be good. Everyone's gonna watch out for that. It's coming out tomorrow, guys.
okay.
uh,
Somebody says the plant beside behind my head looks like part of my ponytail. Yeah,
oh,
right?
so that plant's not real either?
No, none of it's real. Okay, no. The little one, the little orange, that one's real. But it's
Is
probably
that
gonna
sitting in
die
like
soon.
a copper tin cup?
Yeah, it's probably
It's like for a
dying.
Moscow mule.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, wait. I'm gonna move over. I don't want to be like a meme.
You want to be memed. You want to go viral.
Wait, I'm gonna move this way so it's not part of it. There. People stop saying that. It's
Let's
gonna be
see. We
me.
talked about a faucet. We talked about Richard and Peter Schiff. Hmm. Pulse and Pulsex. Oh, I think I touched on it a little bit, but I'll talk about like Pulse versus Pulsex and how
Yeah.
people think there's this camp versus other camp. We're all in one camp. The only reason I ever compare the two is because I don't think anything else is even close. Okay. That's why I say, oh, this is might do better than this. That's saying
Mhm.
like, okay, it's gonna do well, I don't want to give direct numbers, people will quote me. So I think it might do slightly better than this coin. But if you were to compare these coins to other projects, it's not even a contest. The other coins, they don't even last long enough to compare them. You're like, oh, let's compare it to this one. Oh, it just rug pulled last week. Okay, guess we can't. Like, there's all these different things people are trying out there, and you don't want to even give them brand awareness. So what am I supposed to compare Pulsex to? Other coins that we don't want people getting into? It doesn't make any sense. Um, so I compare it almost as like a compliment to Pulse Chain because of how good it is, that I would compare Pulsex to it. And I share all my reasoning. And if you have a different opinion, cool. You can be super into your opinion. You can get your ideas out there too. People, it's not like I'm trying to convince everybody. Like I said before, more people who know about it and sacrifice, it worsens my ownership of the pool or whatever. So I'm just sharing it because it's fun to talk about. It's not even so much to be right as it is to just share information, because I, I want people to get into projects I think will do the best, and so that's why I'm sharing it. And I just share information about what has worked in the past, and this has those properties, so maybe it does better than this other one that doesn't have that property. That's all. It's just like I'm telling you what I'm seeing, and people are upset at what I'm seeing. I don't know. That's the weird one for me.
I mean, if people are getting upset, that means you're just hitting a chord. And I think that just any dialogue that becomes of interest to a large number of people that draws attention to any projects in the RH ecosystem, to me, is good. And you're not dissing anything. You're just saying one is just extraordinary. They're both amazing and one is even more amazing. And so
Mhm.
anyone who sees your content as otherwise is really misreading it, in my opinion. So yeah, it's a healthy dialogue, and not all things will be exactly the same at all times. So
Yeah, I've gotten people commenting on stuff or messaging me. They're like, "All right, how much did you sacrifice for Pulse Chain, and how much for Pulsex? I need to know." It's like, dude, I'm not. What? What
tell
does
me
that have to? Dude, come on. You really think I'm just basing it completely off of what I sacrificed? And also, I told people back then that I liked Pulsex even more than Pulse Chain, and so I was going to sacrifice more for it. I said that. So, and that was before like all this other stuff came out, and before like anything was concrete. I just from my own research saw that. So of course I'm gonna. It wasn't like I invested and then I told people more about it. I was telling people about it before it even was announced. I was
that.
making videos about how great Pulsex could be before he had any information on it, because I was basing it off of Pancake Swap and what they did and how that performed. And I was like, huh, this has great potential. And I think DEXs in the future are just going to grow and grow and grow. And if we're getting any of these types of fees and you can do all this staking with it, I think that's just possibly better than the main chain. And I was like, yeah,
Yep.
this is cool. And then more information came out, and so great. I could add more stuff to talk about where how it's gonna do great. So I did. I'm not gonna just pretend I like what because I own something I can't talk about it. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I'm very excited for the whole ecosystem. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. To see how it all like becomes this whole vertical.
Especially if we get that fiat on ramp too. Ooh, game over. Man, I would totally trust like a fiat on ramp run by like Richard's team or something than any other one, because I feel like they would not back down to any sort of like government stuff like what Canada's doing, um, where they're like telling Kraken, or I don't know if it happened, but Kraken was like, yeah, if they tell us they want us to shut off people's accounts, we're just going to do it. So you should probably remove your crypto from our exchange. Did you see that? Did you see that
I did.
guy? Like the CEO said that. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna, I can't help you guys if they tell us this. So I was like, what? Like that's why we need decentralized exchange, and that's why it's going to be grow and grow and grow. What is Pulsex? Decentralized exchange. If any new project ever gets released, how do you get the tokens to people? You have to trade it. You have to buy it off of the exchange. And so people are like, "Oh, what do you need Pulsex for?" Well, I guess
Mm,
technically you don't need Pulsex the token, I guess you could say, but that's what's going to benefit from all the usage. So that's why you need it. I mean, people get this stuff because it appreciates. If it didn't appreciate, no one would want it. So, so if it appreciates more than other things, that's why you need it, in my opinion.
yeah.
Helps preserve your wealth better. That's why you need it.
Mm.
But what do I
Agree.
know?
Well, we'll see. It's going to come out soon. So either you're going to be super wrong and everyone's like, oh my God, that guy doesn't know anything. Or you're going to be right. They're like,
I'm just
oh, he's a hero. Like, it's going to
gonna
be
delete
one.
my channel. Deleting channel if Pulsex not perform. How does it not? I don't know.
It's
It's
going
got
to
to do
perform.
well.
I'm
But
really,
it
I'm
doesn't.
really bullish.
Yeah, I don't see it. I'm not even worried. Pulsex could go to zero if Pulse Chain does well. I have Pulse Chain too. if Pulse chain goes to zero, I have Hex too. It's like all, so I'm holding all of it. I really do believe in this ecosystem as the
Mm,
best. Like I've never in my life, since being in crypto for 5 years, ever
mm,
trusted to hold anything for like over a year. It was like, I don't know,
yeah.
like, do I trust this protocol, especially holding it in a smart contract, dude? I don't know of any contracts you could hold something in for 5 years over the past 5 years that didn't rug. I don't know
Mm,
of anything that you would, especially if it, there was almost no benefit to doing stuff like that back then. They didn't have anything as good as Hex where you could lock it up and actually earn something, and it was
yeah.
actually guaranteed that longer pays better.
Yeah.
So yeah, Richard actually makes good crypto that's better. So and their whole philosophy is, or his whole philosophy and with his team is, I want to make the best performing assets in history. That's my
Hmm.
goal. Oh, okay. That's the team I want to put my money with. What are all these other people
100%.
talking about? Oh no, I care about, like, they can talk about the environment, they can talk about, dude, if it doesn't go up in value, I don't want it. Don't, like, this, if it goes to zero, I don't want it. I don't care if you have all these plans about talking about the future. If, like, that's all promises people try to sell you, when really what we care about is the price. If the price doesn't go up, it's not preserving your wealth. It's not doing its job as a good cryptocurrency. That's the point. It's not that we care only about money. It's what we care about is actually preserving our wealth into the future. If it's not preserving wealth, it's a bad store of value and should be frowned upon, not encouraged to have more promises thrown on top that don't get completed. I don't know
Exactly.
why people like that, the promise coin stuff. So I mean, there's even people talking about how Pulse Chain and Pulsex are promise coins, and people need to accept that's what it is. And it's like, all right, don't get involved and see what happens then. I know it's a little double-sided messaging until it releases, but this is how it has to be done for this type of thing at this time because of how government is set up and all these laws. So that's the only way you can do it.
Mm,
I do think the sacrifice phase thing is genius, by the way, because you can't basically, there's no way to stop this type of, I guess you could call it a raise, because unless you stop people from giving other people things for free or developing
mhm,
things on the internet, like, if
mhm.
there's a, you'd have to stop the ability of people to give away things, because an individual can give you any amount of coins on, like, whatever. They can just send coins to any address. It's not like that's illegal. And so all this address is doing is taking note of what people sent to this address, and then it sends out this other coin. That's it. It's not a promise. You might get nothing. That's the thing. It's not a promise of any work from others. And I think it's super smart. So I really am happy he invented
Richard is a master of finding loopholes.
it. Here, someone said Aliba Kalima. I think they said something
Yeah.
earlier. What are your thoughts on Pulse Chain token versus time appreciation of the other networks, billions and billions and Did you get that question? Billion appreciation of other networks, billions and billions and billions. What are your
Basically, these are the other networks. How much more do you think it's going to appreciate? I think is the question.
um do I think it will appreciate a lot? I think it will. Oh, in comparison to like other ones? I think anything new pumps better than old stuff. Like we see, like there's, because at the start of something is when the least amount of people know about it. It's the least amount of people you can have to know about it, unless no one else hears about it and someone who knows about it died. That's like the only way. Like, that's the only way you get down in people who know about it. And so when you're starting with very little people who know about it, and they already have all their coins, they're all at like the same price level. Anyone else who's new who hears about it, if they
Mm-hmm.
want to get any of it, they have to get these people to sell it to them, and they're not going to sell
Mm-hmm.
it for a loss, in my opinion, at
Mm.
Genesis. So all these onboards are people who find out about it, people who miss the sacrifice phase by only 30 days. Well, they didn't get in, did they? But they know about it, and they're waiting to buy on day one.
Yep.
We also have, I've heard this before, and well, yeah, I heard this before. These larger firms with like they're like family firms with like tens to hundreds of millions of dollars, they can't partake in something where they're not guaranteed to get any coins.
Exactly.
And so they got to wait till day one when they're actually going to get settlement and like instant delivery, because cryptos and you're going to just get confirmation in 3 seconds. They need to actually be able to prove that they can get these coins. They can't leave it up to, well, this guy might not give us anything. Let's do this with all of our money. So they have to wait till day one, and that's just buy pressure. And they're going to buy it as soon as possible, in my opinion. Maybe they wait for a dip if it does launch at 10x. They're maybe scale in. They might scale in over time, but you're going to see lots of buying on the first days with dollars, in my opinion.
I've heard the same thing, that a lot of the institutional money that can't participate in sacrifice because it's not guaranteed and it would be against the rules are waiting, and they have a lot of money that's going to go into it at the beginning. So it'll be interesting to see.
It's probably only millions of dollars.
It'll be interesting to see if that's true, and if so, how much. Right.
Right. Yeah.
I think it is though.
Yeah. I don't. It's so exciting to be in so early, and a lot of these people have never been in something so early. Like I was fortunate enough to be into Hex super early, and then now these coins, after experiencing great appreciation from being in Hex early, it's like cheating. It's like, okay, it's like you just roll over into the next thing with your gains, and you're not even like you don't even have to push the price down because of the sacrifice. You get full, as if every coin was the same price, as if you were technically selling it for to get a portion of it. It's like you're selling into infinite liquidity and getting credit for it. It's so good. So you don't even have to push the price down to get credit. How sweet is that?
It's amazing.
Hey, we're getting close to our hour, or we're a little over an hour and a half now. Is there anything else you wanted to wrap up with?
No,
because I know you don't want to go too long.
No, me neither. I think that I really wanted to end with just kind of really looking forward to kind of what we think is gonna some speculation on some things that could happen at launch, and because that's going to be the next round of dialogue is going to be all around launch, I think. So from now until it happens.
Oh, like
the main points.
Oh, what is there, like what's going to happen on launch day?
Mm-hmm.
Here, 1 second. I'll read Aliba's. Thank you both. I am subscribed to you both. I look forward to more of your content. You two are celebrities when it comes to this.
Well, I don't know about me, but K4K definitely, but not me. Yeah.
You look like more of a celebrity than I do. Let's be honest. Because you got the style. Celebrities always wear the best, newest styles. Well, that's her, not me. I don't even. I talked about Billabong because I like the name.
No, a lot of the famous guys, like look at Brad Pitt. He's like, when he's going around, he's just going around like a t-shirt, jeans, like super simple.
Yeah, you copied me.
Yeah, he did. You should sue. Should write him a letter. Like, how dare you? I want my book back. Give it back.
Oh my gosh. Did you see that? This is off topic, but it just reminded me because you were saying you're like angry at a celebrity almost. I don't know if it's a meme and the girl's just doing it for clout, but she was like, F you, Matt Damon. I can't believe this. F Korypto. It was like a really short 4-second video on Twitter. I guess because because he's in that commercial with like crypto.com, I think.
Oh.
It's Matt Damon. And some reason she picked him out and was like, it's your fault. And screw crypto too. And it's like, it was like trending yesterday. I was like, that's so ridiculous. How can you not take responsibility and blame like the actor they paid to be on the screen? Come on. Oh man, that's so funny. I don't know what her story was, so maybe she got really wrecked and I shouldn't be laughing about it, but she seemed kind of upset, so probably shouldn't make fun of that, but it was just so ridiculous because it was like, screw Matt Damon. It was like, dude, what did he do? Anyway. So day one, I mean, I guess, yeah, for strategies, kind of, I'm not going to give you some detailed, or you buy this and then on 0.3 seconds later, you got to sell it for that one. But if this happens, I'm not going to give this like because I do get lots and lots of questions about what's the best strategy, or what do you think the price will be in 2 weeks after launch, a month after launch? And it's like, dude, if I knew that, I'd have infinite money and I wouldn't be in here like this. Why would I? If I knew the future, I would be doing other things than, crypto, if you could just guess the future, or if someone's brain could really get, like, you can get close sometimes, but it's never for sure. There's always that chance. There's chance involved with all this stuff. And it's
Yeah.
like probability. And so I've gone into some models that are just, you get to the point where you're almost like trying to guess every possible future, and you're like, wait, there's got to be something else I can do with my time. This is not it. Like, build something, help other people. There's so many better things to do. So I try to give a basic framework that I think will play out for most people, which is, if you don't, say you had nothing, you have no crypto right now, I would, not financial advice, but I would probably tell a friend that they should, you don't want to get in any of the, I wouldn't sacrifice right now, because now we're almost at like 10x rate. So getting probably either hex, so that you get a copy at the start, is probably a good strat. As we lead into the pulse chain launch, I don't see us not pumping into that launch. It's like a buy the rumor, sell the news. Like, oh, is it going to launch in a month? Better get my copy. Oh, it's going up. Better get my copy before it's more expensive. So it's kind of like, that's how I see the sentiment going. I'm not saying that it won't go down since from now, but I do think getting a copy, and especially since Hex is Richard's like favorite coin, I don't think we're not going to see all-time highs by like the end of the year. So if that's the longest you have to wait, maybe by the end of the year, that'd be like really bad scenario. But so getting Hex, so you get a copy over on the other side, because you don't want to hold Ethereum, or you get one Pulse copy over there, right, per Ethereum, which is not a good deal for, like, what is it, $3,000 worth of capital. You could have lots of that Hex, and then you get way more value copied over versus one Pulse worth, because I bet you those copied over, whatever, even if you get any other ERC20 token, whatever is copied over, that is worth a certain amount of Pulse, more than one. I will tell you that. It's going to be worth way more than that. It's the worst thing you can do is hold Ethereum or be a Ethereum liquidity provider before. So you want to probably do either Hex or any ERC20 that you don't think will go down in super value. And then you want to, when the bridge is open, like, because you'll have your copy, I don't think you should probably trade those ratios too crazy, unless you want to just snag some with your Pulse version of your copied over, get some Pulse, trade some for Pulsex, hold a little bit just in case, because there's no USD value at the start, so there's really no, you're kind of just ratio trading. It's a little complicated. But whenever the dollar, you can bring dollars over with any sort of crypto with the bridge, I would bring over fresh money, and you get equal portions of each, and you just hold it and use the abilities that each of those tokens have to accrue more value. Just hold some of each. I'm not going to say only get Pulsex. Now, if I were to tell my friend, if this was like my best friend, I would tell him probably get like 20% Pulse, 20% Hex, the rest Pulsex, because I do think Pulsex is going to do better, but I wouldn't tell the vast majority of people that.
Okay.
Even though I just said it here, but
I'm like, well, you kind of just did, but that's okay. You have 10,000.
I'm saying,
you told a lot of people.
but there's only 500 people watching. But that's just my personal opinion. I think Pulsex would be better. It's not financial advice, but I think if they were trying to catch up in, or whatever reason, financially, I think Pulsex should outperform in the long term. So
I think it represents the highest multiple of gains, because it's launching. So, in my opinion,
that impulse change, but
financial advice, but that's what I think. If you only have a certain amount of money to work with, that's probably the best bet in terms of getting a huge return, and then using that money, then distributing it to more Hex, P-Hex,
right,
Pulse.
and because something new like that is just likely to launch at some crazy awesome higher price and continue upward and stuff like that, as opposed to, maybe Hex, maybe people are going to try selling their Hex to get this stuff, so Hex might not do amazingly well. This new stuff's out, so that's why I would, and you don't want to hold only one of something, because you will always feel bad looking at the chart of anything else then, Because if you're looking at Hex and you didn't have any and it's going up, you're going to feel bad. If you look at Pulse and you don't have any, it's going up, you're going to feel bad. If you don't want to feel bad ever, you just want to hold some of each, then you can be happy about all three and you're not salty. So, your emotional state is very important too during all this. You don't want to feel terrible your whole life, not your whole life, I guess, but for several months, because you can't look at these other charts that are doing well. Even if your one is doing pretty good, you're going to feel left out. So don't feel left out. Hold some of each. I just think Pulsex will do a little bit better. So, and if what's funny in my opinion, or do you want to go?
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's funny in my opinion because you can start off with 33%, 33%, 33%, say Hex, Pulsex, and if I'm right and I think Pulsex is gonna outperform, it's gonna naturally become a larger percent of your portfolio. So you don't even have to start with more of it if you don't want to, and you think you just want to see which one becomes the biggest. But I think if you think one's going to do better, wouldn't you like to allocate more earlier before it becomes more expensive? Then you have more of that thing that multiplies faster, soon, like early on. So that's kind of my thought process on it.
I just wanted to point out that TDM10 gave you $5, and he's asking you whether he should swap Pulse Chain or just hold his Pulsex. And I think it has to do with the ratio, right?
Yeah, he's saying, hi, K4K, I only got Pulsex in Sacrifice. Should I swap for Pulse Chain or just hold my Pulsex? I mean, the timing matters too. Like if you're, like during the first 2 days or so, it will be just a ratio. So if it's like 1-to-1, then it's like, is the USD value, do you think, going to be reflecting that? If it's not, then you might take a bad deal, even though it's 1-to-1. So like if USD never mattered, and you had, say, like, how I gave the total supply numbers and how Pulsex is slightly more rare because it's less total supply. I guess you could say that's slightly less rare. Then maybe it should be worth a little bit more than Pulse. But all these other people, most people don't even know that. So there's going to be a lot of irrational trading, in my opinion. Because I even had a poll the other day, I think yesterday or 2 days, maybe it was yesterday. And I asked, all right, I wonder what Twitter thinks is, with current numbers, does Pulsex have more supply or does Pulse Chain? 73% of people were wrong. So most people thought Pulsex had more supply. It still doesn't have more supply, even with 48 billion OA sacrifice.
Oh, really?
Most people don't understand that. So most of the market doesn't understand this stuff. So I get a lot of these people who ask me these questions thinking everyone knows the stuff that I'm talking about. And they act as if everyone's going to act that way. Like, oh, if everyone buys Pulsex, then this won't happen. And it's like, dude, only a few people know about this strategy. That's like how deep we're in the know. You can't extrapolate that to everybody already is doing that. You're just in a little bubble of people who know something. And you have to realize that. Otherwise, you're going to act wrong. Because obviously a certain strategy only works whenever a certain select few know about it, as opposed to the whole market. The whole market doesn't know. Like, as that Twitter poll suggested, it's like most people just don't know the math behind it, and they're going to value things incorrectly. So they're going off wrong information, presuppositions, just incorrect. And so that's like an advantage that I try to like share with people who watch my stuff. Use it wisely. I'm not encouraging trading. I think you should hold some of each coin that feels good, like those percentages I said, and then you just hold it. You use the abilities of the coins, and you're not supposed to be. I hear people saying, "Well, when this one goes up, then I'll sell it for this other one that went down." It's like, maybe that works out, dude. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe the ratio only extends in gap, and you just bought that thing you thought would be a good return, and it just gets continually outperformed, and you never get back into that coin at that rate you had. So that's just trading. People are trying to say that
it is trading, my friend. It is.
Just hold it. These Ethereum whales, they like the Genesis whales, the ETH God whale that came into Hex early. hundreds of thousands of Ethereum. Most of it's like not moved more than like a few times to different addresses. It's just like transfers. He's not like buying Shiba Inu when it comes out and selling it for this other coin that's on a dip. They're not trading. You don't get 6.9 million X returns or 16,000 X returns for Ethereum by trading. You get it by holding. And it
Yeah.
seems crazy and it seems boring, but if you can be bored and rich, that or easily boringly get rich, and then you can do whatever you want with all your money, that seems like more fun to me than spend all your time. It's like a bad deal trading. You spend all your time focusing on it, and you get outperformed by people who just held and actually did stuff with their life and did other things that were fun. You can just have fun and let your crypto do the thing while you're waiting, and you're just generating more revenue doing something else.
Exactly.
Don't try to make it your day job. That's the biggest mistake you can make in crypto.
Oh, huge. Huge.
But I think that's probably a good
note to
thing to
end
close
on.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Man,
close
I'm really
on
bad
that.
at forgetting. I mess up all my sayings so bad. What did I say? A piece of cup earlier or something? Piece of tea? Oh my god. Cup of tea.
Yeah, you said a piece of tea.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh my god.
it's okay. It's yeah.
Man,
All
500
right.
viewers. I'm gonna thank everybody for showing up, and
Yeah, thank
everyone can
you. And I wanted to say hi to Hexagon Girl. I missed her on Saturday
Oh,
because her train got canceled. So,
oh, is
but
she out there?
yeah,
Man,
she's in my neck of
man.
the woods. Mm.
500 viewers. I feel bad saying bye to everybody because that's so many. But thanks for showing up, everybody. Super awesome. Check out
Thank
Crypto
you.
Stylist's video and her new stuff that comes out. She's
Oh,
awesome.
thank
That video is like seriously top notch. I don't think anyone's made a video that in depth in like a certain field and explaining such a great analogy of like we can do just the exact same thing and be just as successful. I'm like, dude, I am on board with you, and I hope
you.
I hope you lead the charge in that regard because you're the expert in that field. So I hope more people do similar stuff to that, like finding those little things that they're an expert in, and then bringing that to the Hex table and helping people get into this Hex community, this ecosystem of Richard Hart. So yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm heading out.
All right.
Later, Crypto Stylist. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Thanks. All right. Bye. Bye.